Okay. Maybe it's time to get everyone together so Tilda can brief us. But is there anything I should handle before that? There. Let's see what we got. All right, people. I need you up in the control room, right away. Okay, everyone. We all know what's at stake. Beta, Gaia. Not to mention life on Earth. Now, it might seem like the Zeniths are invincible, but they're not. We've got what it takes to break into their base and defeat them. We even have one of them on our side. Tilda, show us the base.
It is constructed atop the ruins of an ancient military facility on an island to the southwest. I can get us inside. To this location, undetected.
How exactly?
You'll know when you need to. Once inside, our goal will be this structure. The launch tower. Gaia and Beta are being held at the top. But along the way, we will face overwhelming resistance. Most importantly from Gerard, Eric, and the others. But also...
Once I take away their shields, we should be able to deal with them. But it will be easier to deploy the device if someone else is carrying it. I'll need a strong back.
Carry stuff? Yeah, I can do that.
Even if your device works, there will still be Spectre drones, scores of them.
If only we had an army to fight them.
I've got that under control. You'll know when you need to. All right. We'll meet up again just before we go in. Where's the best place to rendezvous?
On the coast, just across from the island. Once there, I'll show you the way.
Okay. I'll let you know when I arrive at the rendezvous point. And then you can join me. In the meantime, do whatever you need to prepare. Understood? You two? A minute? Tilda helped me get in touch with Beta, and she told me something important. There's an installation inside the base. It's called a regulator. Here. Once we're inside, I need you two to split off from everyone else and destroy it. So you'll have to bring explosives. This will help stop the drones. Everything depends on it. You with me? After that, I want you to find a way to infiltrate the Zenith network.
How?
Go over all the data that Beta left behind. She knew how to do it, I'm sure of that.
All right. But why? What am I trying to do?
Find information about the Zeniths. Anything Tilda's not telling us. Sans is right about one thing. There's no way we can take her on her word.
I'll do my best.
Keep her safe, okay?
On my life.
Okay. Almost time to go after Beta and Gaia. Might be good to check up on everyone first.
We need to get Silent Weapon to the Zenith base intact if we want to take their shields down.
I'll be gentle with it, I promise.
Good. Without it.
Did you need something?
Just you wait, Varl. We're taking those space lugs.
So, you return. Aloy. Bravo. You managed to sway a Zenith to your side. Care to explain?
Not a chance. I thought you said the weapon was ready.
There's always room to optimize. But that's not why you're here. I assume you want to comprehend my undertakings. So, ask away.
Since when were you so forthcoming?
Since you turned this into a waiting game. And as it seems you have found modest success, perhaps I'm willing to be generous.
All right, Silence. I think I've talked to you long enough. I'll let you know when it's time to go. And try not to mess with Tilda while you're in here, okay? I don't need the two of you butting heads.
Ah, yes. About your Zenith ally. I wonder if you understand what kind of person you're dealing with. For someone to live as long as she has, outlast as many calamities, well, your goals may be aligned now, but I'd watch for the moment they diverge.
Yeah, I'm aware. Reminds me of someone else I know.
Survival is only a necessity to my greater purpose, Aloy. I'd hoped you'd recognize that by now.
Do you know something or not?
Oh, I know a great deal of things. But on this, just call it a feeling.
Oh, a feeling? You mean you finally had one? Huh. Guess even you can change, Silence.
Something else?
Okay, so your big plan, everything you've been manipulating for the last few months. Let me see if I got this straight. You learned about the Zeniths from Hades when you interrogated it. Then you came up with a plan to defeat them by using a Tenakth army and that weapon. And to get the Tenakth to fight for you, or rather the Sons of Prometheus, armed Regalla's rebels with override tech.
Did you have an actual question, or are you still playing catch-up?
So all this time, even before I found the coordinates at the Spire, you were out here scheming. Why couldn't you just tell me?
When I learned of the Zenith's return to Earth, I laid out my plans. I knew I would one day require an army of overzealous Tenakth to assault the Zenith base. The casualties would be extreme. And I knew you would never allow such a sacrifice, no matter how necessary. Thus, I devised a means to remove your interference from the equation. At the Hades Proving Lab.
You wanted me to surrender to the Zeniths at the Hades Proving Lab. They almost killed me.
Based on everything I knew about them, I concluded they would find you a useful asset, thereby keeping you out of harm's way and, more importantly, out of my way.
So you really didn't know they had their own clone of Elizabeth?
No. Unfortunately, there was no way I could have known that particular detail.
Detail? Well, I guess if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be here today. Tell me about the weapon. How does it work?
I've upgraded the delivery system. It now emits a wave-like effect covering a significant distance.
That doesn't fully answer my question.
No, but I'd be a fool to reveal its inner workings. After all, why did you withhold your plan for dealing with the Zenith drones? Yes, even you can appreciate the value of secrecy when warranted. Suffice it to say that the weapon will work. The intricacies of how is knowledge that is mine alone.
You know I can't pass up all this Lance Reddick dialogue. Gonna miss that man. Let's see what you got to say here, Cedric Daniels.
Why create the Sons of Prometheus? You didn't need a Sarah to make override tech.
They were a necessary safeguard. My time serving Hades and the Eclipse demonstrated the risks of getting directly involved. Through the Sons of Prometheus, I could execute my plans, all while remaining anonymous.
Except to a Sarah. How did you get a Sarah to work for you?
I knew there was an associate of the Oseram tinker, Dervahl, who escaped his failed assault on Meridian. It was trivial to track her down and gain her cooperation. She wanted to succeed where Dervahl had failed.
So you promised her Regalla, and the Tenakth. The Sarah would help you create a machine-riding army, and wanted to see Meridian burn as much as she did.
And so a partnership was born out of thirst for blood, bonded in mutual self-interest.
You think you had everything figured out, huh?
I did.
Why help Regalla take over? If you wanted an army, you could have just gone to Hekarro.
Before Regalla's rebellion, Hekarro was only concerned with battling machines and fostering friendships with the Carja. Even if I gained his ear, he would never agree to send his forces to battle a threat he couldn't understand.
So helping a bloodthirsty exile was easier.
Yes, exceedingly so. All Regalla craved was war against the Carja and anyone who threatens the Tenakth. She would have led the tribe into battle without question, which was precisely what I needed.
While I was out there, I had a couple run-ins with the Quen.
The tribe from across the ocean. And?
Their entire tribe was shaped around the discovery of focuses. One of them, Alva, even joined me here. Don't you want to know more about them?
No. They stumbled upon the greatest technological artifact from the ancient world, and what did they do with it? They shrouded the knowledge they unearthed in mysticism and taboo, creating a pantheon out of corporate shields.
Yes, well, it also led them to Thebes.
Did it now?
So those run-ins with the Quen I mentioned. On one of them I teamed up with their expedition to search Thebes. We found Pharaoh at the end.
You must have needed Omega clearance. So, what was it like?
Worse than you can imagine.
He single-handedly wiped out collective human knowledge. I'm sure it was still less than he deserved.
Let me guess. You would have scraped him into a jar so you could prod his brain, like what you did with Hades.
For a start.
I'll be going.
As you wish.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah?
I was thinking it's far further. Let me get the time.
There you are. Well done, Aloy. Despite my reservations, you managed to secure Silence and his weapon. You're truly a shining example of Liz's fortitude.
Everything you've said about Elizabeth. It sounds like you knew her better than you let on. Who was she to you, exactly?
Perceptive as ever. You're right. We were more than friends for a time.
Okay, so... what happened?
I was an orphan. I had always been alone. By my 30s, I was starting to wonder if that was simply my fate in life. And then I met Liz. We kept running into each other at conferences. We'd have coffee. At some point, it became drinks. I thought it was just shop talk. an exchange of ideas, but then I was surprised at how much I looked forward to seeing her. Soon we were flying halfway across the world every other week just to meet up. For the first time, I didn't feel lonely. I could imagine a future where I wasn't. I think Liz felt the same way at first. She had lost her mother a few years back. I filled a void for her. I know I did. But as time passed, it seemed as though she wanted less when I wanted more. And so we ended things.
So helping me, restoring Elizabeth's dream, it's what,
A second chance, yes. I made a mistake leaving Earth while Liz stayed behind. I should have done more. So when I saw you, a woman who has carved her own remarkable path, beyond even what made Liz a phenomenon, I knew I had to help you. To do right by her.
I'm glad I did not skip this dialogue. It's fantastic.
You said Beta's not in urgent danger. What are the Zeniths doing to her?
Putting her to work. Merging Hephaestus with Gaia. A difficult, time-consuming task, as I'm sure you know. They will compel her if need be. But her life is not in danger. She's the only one who can do it.
Right. Because you people made her to be nothing but a tool.
Gerard's idea, not mine. They always viewed me with suspicion when I attempted any form of kindness towards her. That's why I created the data channel. A virtual place where we could speak in peace.
So this channel you shared with Beta, none of the other Zeniths ever found out about it?
Gerard believes he's the most cunning of all of us. Even after 1,000 years, he still can't imagine that I would outwit him. The channel allowed me to interact with Beta away from their mistrustful eyes. It offered us a chance to be ourselves.
Until you cut off all contact.
Yes, though it pained me. I was worried that our meetings would do her more harm than good.
She felt like you tossed her aside.
I was afraid the others would find out and punish her. She may not have had the comforts of friendship anymore, but at least I ensured she was safe. I know it seems harsh, but you must believe that her well-being has always been paramount to me.
Why did you make the data channel look like your house?
I built that house as a shelter to weather any storm. A safe place, not just for me, but for the art stored in its depths. Cultural artifacts of incalculable value. Truly, some of the greatest achievements of human civilization.
And you wanted Beta to see them?
Yes. Her upbringing was so cold and technical. I thought if she could experience Vermeer and Rembrandt, it would bring something else into her life. A heritage every bit as valuable as the scientific and technical data being drummed into her. I'm sorry I had to cut off contact, but I'll never regret sharing this house with her. She needed its shelter even more than I did.
So you know a lot about me through my old focus. But what about you?
What would you like to know?
Well, start with your life on Earth.
When I was 8, terrorists flooded my home city. Thousands drowned, my parents included. I was one of the few who survived. My guardian sent me to boarding school. Among my peers, I was the strange girl, the orphan to be avoided. All because of circumstances beyond my control.
So we're a lot alike, huh?
Aren't we? You were an outcast, but you didn't let that stop you from getting what you needed. Neither did I.
My delivery
climbed
was a
my
little
way
weird.
out of desolation and used my wits to build a fortune. First from the technical, analysis of art and the detection of forgeries. Profitable expertise in those days. But as it turned out, the software I developed was even more useful for counterintelligence. From there, it was only a short step to gathering extremely valuable intelligence on my own.
You are a spy?
More like a service one could turn to for information. I had to remain anonymous, of course, to protect my privacy. But despite that anonymity, Far Zenith inevitably sought me out.
What happened when Far Zenith approached you?
They painted an irresistible vision of humanity's future, one where we need not fear illness or death, where we explored the furthest reaches of the stars and thrived. It was only later that I realized that they only intended to bequeath this future to the rich and powerful. By the time I finally figured it out, the walls were closing in, Pharaoh's machines were devouring the Earth. So I accepted Far Zenith's invitation to a berth on the Odyssey. I wanted Liz to come, but she had nobler plans, as you well know.
You said before that you're not like the other Zeniths. That you never were. But you went along with all of their plans.
Out of necessity. I'm not proud of it. But complicity became a means of survival, both when Earth was consumed and when the colony on Sirius was destroyed. I did what I had to. But I resolved to remain one step ahead of the others, to try to undo what damage I could. Hence the data channel with Beta. The secret passage into their base and the little trick I pulled to save you.
Why do you think Elizabeth pulled away?
I've wondered that for 1,000 years. She was brilliant, visionary. She cared so deeply for the world, for the betterment of humanity. But it also felt like she kept everyone at arm's length, including me. She never wanted to share her burdens. I think, in the end, she had a core that she never let anyone be part of. Sometimes I wonder if anyone really knew her.
I found a recording of you and Elizabeth back in the Proving Lab after Far Zenith's attempt to steal Gaia.
Yes. A most unpleasant conversation.
She said something after the call. I think she regretted how things ended between you.
Did she? All this time, thank you for telling me. I've always hated that those were the last words we ever said to each other. And that her last impression of me was as a functionary of Far Zenith, not who I truly am.
What else can we expect to find in the Zenith base?
As I mentioned in the briefing, our goal will be the command center. That's where Beta and Gaia are being held. There are also printing facilities where the others have been amassing the natural resources they've stripped from the region.
What for?
First for use in the base's infrastructure, and then to fabricate more Spectre drones, a small army of them. In addition, they've also been ferrying materials to and from our ship in orbit. After hundreds of years luxuriating in our digital comforts, the ship was barely space-worthy when we made our escape. Disaster can strike at any moment. We've learned our lesson.
Yo, can I ask her if I can have her armor? I'm gonna need that shit.
Have you figured out how Silence's weapon works?
No, and he's been very careful not to allow me near it. I'll admit it bothers me, but regardless of how it functions, I am confident it will deactivate the other shields en masse.
How many of them are in the base?
10, including Eric and Gerard. Only a handful of us made it to our ship when our colony collapsed.
When I was in the ruins of Vegas, I found data on a man named Stanley Chen. I think he was a Zenith.
Stanley, ever the optimist. He was one of the good ones. When we established our colony, he built an exact replica of Las Vegas in virtual reality. Lights, shows, gambling, every detail perfectly recreated. And while others cloistered themselves in their own fantasies, he flung his doors wide to everyone.
The way you're talking about him, I'm guessing he didn't make it back to Earth.
No, he perished when our colony was destroyed. He would have been thrilled to discover that part of his beloved city survived.
Okay, so I've had run-ins with a handful of Zeniths. What about the rest?
An array of the wealthiest people on Earth, titans of their industries.
And let me guess, all selfish and ruthless to the core?
Most, but not all. There were a few with whom I got along. Annika Murjani, for instance, was always delightful. She founded the Holonet's most successful dance channel and was herself mesmerizing to watch. And I had fascinating discussions with Song Jiao about her work in cellular biology. Our immortality treatments are due in part to her achievements. But then there were others like Devin Miller, the CEO of a fast food printing corporation. His only real preoccupations were perfecting his golf swing and taking self-hollows. When I think about all of us, we really should have accomplished more. We had eternity.
When Beta escaped and hid in an ancient research facility, I saw another one of the Zeniths, Verbena. Who was she?
A dull star amidst a sea of brighter constellations. Unlike most of Far Zenith's members who amassed their wealth through shrewd business deals and technological achievements, Verbena inherited her billions. Her father had achieved great success in the luxury holotourism industry. At age 24, she became the world's most eligible bachelorette, branding herself a life designer. Someone who leverages their fame to influence the choice of others.
What, like a cult?
In a way, yes.
Well, she must have done something right to have survived this long.
She was her own brand of ruthless. That much is true. But even rats can cling to a vessel for escape.
What can you tell me about Gerard?
He was the head of the world's largest financial conglomerate, and as such had dealings with almost every major corporation. It made him one of the wealthiest people on Earth, and certainly the wealthiest among Far Zenith.
What does one person do with that much money?
Buy more power, more influence. Gerard's always believed himself to be a refined patrician, able to maintain control with a polished smile. But beneath that exterior is a cold and calculating operator. It was his decision to restrict Beta's upbringing to her digital educators, the avatars of the Apollo database, while we were painted as her benefactors.
Well, we'll deal with him soon enough. And the others.
I would very much like to see his face when he realizes we've beaten him.
So, Eric. Was he always a bloodthirsty psychopath?
I believe he got worse over time. On Earth, he was the founder of a profitable private military company. A band of cutthroats, in other words. Even as governments abandoned human combatants in favor of automated warfare. He found success with clientele that required a more personal touch. There were also rumors that he personally hunted and killed his targets. On occasion, all for the thrill of it. But on Sirius, he retreated to virtual reality simulations. In them, he could go on rampages as violent as he pleased, though I suspect with diminishing satisfaction.
Okay. I'll let you know when it's time.
I'll be here until then. And thank you, Aloy, for giving me this chance. My past has always been a struggle. More than once I've lost everything. But when I look to the future, I see Liz's dream fulfilled. A universe of new possibilities.
Maybe we can make it happen.
We will. I won't let anything get in the way. I promise you that.
Her armor looks kind of like my Shield Weaver armor from the last game. I want it.
Stay as long as you like. I don't mind the company.
Yeah, I bet. I'm out.
Aloy, we're ready to meet you at the rendezvous point whenever you call.
Fighting the Zeniths isn't going to be easy.
Nothing you do ever is. At least, now you don't have to do it alone.
Thanks. I should go. I'll let you know when I'm ready to head to the base.
Before you do, there is one favor I would ask of you.
What is it?
You placed this focus in my care, and gave me the highest calling an Utaru has ever known. If I should fall in battle, I'd like you to be the one to bury my seed pouch. For the both of us.
So,
Make sure you stay alive to do so.
let's just try to all come back home. Okay?
Aloy, aren't we meeting at the beach near the Zenith base?
We are. I just wanted to check in on everyone first. We're finally doing this.
Never thought I'd be off on a mission to take down a bunch of immortals from the stars. I can hear the drinking songs already.
I was hoping you could help me with something. It's about the Tenakth rebels, and it also has to do with the Oseram.
Really? That doesn't sound good. Let me know what I can do to help.
I discovered an Oseram militant group. They call themselves the Sons of Prometheus. It looks like they're the ones overriding machines for the Tenakth rebels. They're familiar with ancient tech, and they're as anti-Karja as it gets.
So, last year we stopped Durval and his cronies from blowing up Meridian in retribution for the Red Raids. And now you're telling me we have another group of Oseram trying to wipe out the Karja with an army of machines and bloodthirsty Tenakth?
Pretty much. And they have focuses too.
Well, that's just great.
I found out who's running them. A woman named Asera. Does that ring any bells?
Oh no. Remember how Durval had a band of freebooters that retaliated against the Karja? She was one of them. First female tinker in the claim to run her own forge. But when her family got killed in the Red Raids, she went bad. Real bad. I thought she was dead, though. Taken out by one of Murad's guys.
Well, she's not. And she wants revenge against the Karja. We have to find out where she's operating from, and stop her.
Way back, when we first met. You came looking for me in Meridian because you detected Olin's focus with yours, right? And there's a chance Sarah's getting some of her supplies from the claim. The only way she'd get those is if her lackeys smuggled them through Barren Light.
Well, their focuses would make it easier for them to evade guards and patrols.
But if I'm there waiting for them,
You could scan for their focuses. Pick them out from the crowd.
if an Oseram's wearing one of these, they'd have to be a part of that Prometheus group.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I've been known to have those once in a while.
All right. I'll keep tracking her people out west. You let me know if you find anything in Barren Light.
We'll find her. We have to. It's thugs like her who murder my sister.
Varl made the right call. You know, bringing you here.
Thanks. Yeah, Varl. You know, I never knew he had a sister. I found out a few days before you guys went to Gemini. I was, well, to be honest, I was terrified I'd screw up the mission somehow. So he sat me down for a drink. Just one, mind you. And we talked about family. Vala, Ursa, loss and revenge. How you helped us.
You know, we never did get that drink you promised back in the Embrace. And you never told me exactly how your sister escaped the Mad Sun King.
I guess we never got around to it. World ending and all. No time like the present, though. If you're up for it.
You should know. Sylens is involved with the Sons of Prometheus. He's the one who gave them the override tech to begin with.
Why doesn't that surprise me? That's probably all part of some master plan, huh?
At least we know we're good at wrecking those.
Damn straight.
You, talked to Tilda at all?
I tried. I don't think even a hot forge could melt that ice. And you say she wants to help?
I think so. Well, let's hope. Doesn't look like any of our guests are making trouble.
Yet. So, Kotallo tells me you flew. Well, that's new. I've been busting my balls trying to learn to read. You're out there having all the fun.
Don't worry. You'll be getting all the fun you can handle soon. With the Zeniths.
Looking forward to it.
You look tired?
Ha! You're never one to hold back, are you? I've just been making sure that I got everything down for this mission of yours. I wouldn't want to be the usual screw-up out there.
You'll do fine, Erend. You still sifting through loads of data?
Yeah, it's interesting. There's lots of words. I thought maybe I could try finding things with more, pictures in it. Not much luck there, but I did find out about these holofilms. Like images put together to tell a story. They were made to look like they were the real thing. The Oseram-like shows. I bet they pay a lot of shards for those hollows.
You've been looking at any interesting data?
I asked Gaia to find me something to look at a while back. And she found the mother of all forges. They called it sports. Turns out the old ones spent a lot of time tackling and punching each other for points in one game or another. Are you mixing some solid food and fresh ale? I bet half the claim will be lining up to watch.
If that one's not working right, you can have one of my spare focuses, you know.
Yeah, little bugger's got some personality, that's all. Saved my butt with those Spectres. Wouldn't feel right to leave it behind now. Besides, it goes with my outfit.
Wouldn't want to spoil your look. What else have you been studying with your focus?
Yeah, I've been looking into this Vegas place you found. Gaia showed us everything that happened when you went to get that Poseidon thing. I mean, this Morlund guy seems pretty smart. Though, risking the Tenakth clan lands for a light show is a bold move.
His crew knows how to handle themselves. Mostly.
Right.
I guess Sylens is keeping to himself, as usual.
I was hoping he'd give me an excuse to hammer his sorry ass to the ground.
Please don't.
You telling me you wouldn't want to get just one good hit on that smug face of his? After everything he's done?
Sure. Later. Right now, he's got something we need. Do you think so we'll be okay?
I don't think anyone's ever okay after losing the one they love. I can't tell you she's handling it better than I ever did. That keeps the rest of us level-headed.
Oh shit, I forgot dude died. What was his name? Varl? I forgot about that shit.
Do I smell ale?
I brought some over from Chain Scrape. With everything that's been going on, I thought we could all use a drink. Besides, there is nothing that brings people together like a good brew. That's what my sister always said, anyways. You're more than welcome to have some.
Maybe another time. Anything happen I should know about?
Zoe asked us to help her bring more plants in here. Not for eating, apparently. Yeah, if you ask me, the place is fine as it is. You know, metal might be plain, but it's sturdy. Nothing wrong with that. Who needs a bunch of vegetation?
How are things with Kotallo? You still scared of him?
Oh, she thinks she's funny. Actually, I asked if it'd be interested in playing a game of Strike. I had to fill in most of the conversation myself, but I'm still alive.
Glad to hear it. Have you spoken with Alva yet?
Yeah, when she's not reading the archives like a giddy kid drinking her first ale. She took to that new focus quick, that's for sure. I gotta say, I'm a little jealous. But I can see why you two hit it off.
Anybody take you up on that ale you brought yet?
Zoe can't stand the smell of it. I tried Alva, but I don't think she knows what taking a break means.
What about Kotallo?
Now there's a man that can hold his liquor. Pretty sure we downed half a keg. We had a good chat, I think.
You think it's time for us to finally have that drink?
Yeah? I mean, yeah, of course. Oh.
So, how did Ursa escape Mad Sun King Jiran's palace?
Well, first she had to survive the Sun Ring. See, during the war, the Carja threw a prisoner a day in there. And, you know, for what? To die as sacrifices, fighting machines in a pit. Thinking somehow that was gonna appease all the other deranged machines in the world? Ha! And when it was Ursa's turn, the Carja thought she'd go down if they threw a big machine at her.
Oh, but she didn't.
And she defeated all of them. Even got some of Jiran's kestrels for good measure. And the Mad Sun King was impressed, I guess. Thought it'd be funny to have her run around his palace as a servant. He enjoyed humiliating her that way.
I remember you telling me something about that. That's how she met Avad. He helped her escape.
Yeah, but what no Carja scroll will ever tell you is how the young prince snuck Ursa out of the palace. He knew their best chance was to get Ursa to blend in, so he got her everything she needed to disguise herself as a Carja noblewoman. Yeah, perfumes, veils, and all.
I get the feeling she wasn't too happy with that.
Oh man, Ursa would have rather fought her way out of that palace with her bare hands than put on all of that Carja eye paint. But Avad insisted it was the only way, so she agreed under one condition. Avad had to dress up as well.
She made Avad dress up like a noblewoman?
As perfumed and powdered as a babe. Ursa said he looked better like that than he ever did in a crown.
That would, definitely make for an interesting sight.
Oh, it worked like a charm, too. Not only did they make it out of the palace, they paid a traveling merchant to get Ursa to the border, and none were the wiser.
You were right. That was a story best told over a drink.
All good stories are.
I guess I should get going.
I'll see you at the rendezvous point, with my hammer ready.
I wouldn't have it any other way. You nervous?
I'd be lying if I said I'm not slightly apprehensive.
The plan will work if we all focus on our assignments.
Right.
I hope our new guests have been behaving.
This Silence, he's the one who built the weapon that can take down Zenith shields?
He is. Though I wouldn't expect him to answer any questions about it. He refuses to dole out his secrets to us lesser mortals.
Oh.
You know that special part of us that makes us warm, kind, welcoming?
Our spirit?
Yeah. He was born without that. How are you holding up?
Varl's loss is heavy on everyone's mind. I didn't know him well, but I can see how much he meant to the others. Zoe and Erend seem to have taken to it the hardest, but I don't quite know what to say to them.
They need time to sort through it.
And what about you? Will time heal your wounds?
I don't know. I try not to think about it. I imagine you don't know anyone here that well yet, but they're a good group.
It's funny because one of your friends is, well, another you. Not that you are the same person at all. I mean, you are, as in, you're both genetically Elizabeth Sobek, but even so, you're different.
We grew up very differently. But sometimes different is good.
Yes, of course.
I hope everyone's been treating you okay.
Oh, yeah, of course. They've all been extremely welcoming. And they share the knowledge they learn on their focuses with each other freely. It's refreshing. Back home, diviners can only share data with the permission from the overseers.
Sounds restrictive and stifling.
Yeah, you are not wrong.
Have you spoken with Zoe at all?
A little bit, but I did hear her singing with Varl not too long ago. I don't think they noticed. Zoe seemed so free when she did it. Like every emotion she had was taking flight in song. And she looked happier because of it. I felt so dull and nervous in comparison.
You should ask Zoe to teach you sometime. About Utaru music.
Maybe.
We won't let the Zeniths get away with what they've done.
Everyone's ready to take the fight to the enemy.
And you?
Nervous? But I'm ready too.
Don't worry. We'll get through this together. I want you to know I'm glad you're with us, Alva.
Whatever happens, I'm grateful that the legacy brought us together. I never thought I'd get to actually meet an ancestor.
Come on, do I look that old? Kotallo will protect you inside the Zenith base.
I'm not afraid. I know Kotallo will fulfill his duty, as will I. If we die doing so, at least it'll be alongside a friend.
I'd rather you both stay alive, if you don't mind.
We'll try and keep that in mind.
I see you've been using your new focus.
It's been fascinating. So much better than the version the Quen have. What would have taken me years to sort through, like the database you helped me recover, with this, I've been able to establish search parameters to speed up the process. This could revolutionize how diviners analyze the legacy. That is, whatever part of it the overseers would actually let us study.
You wanted data, you'll find lots of it here.
A diviner has never had this sort of unsupervised access to archives such as this. And knowing you, I suspect there is much that would normally be forbidden held within them. But I was sent here to help you. I would be remiss to ignore any truth laid before me. Maybe it'll help the Quen find their way back to the path of truth.
Any more data catch your eye?
All of it? I have so much to study up on. Years, actually. I'm particularly interested in the Odyssey. We knew the ancestors had made it to the moon. In fact, we theorized some of them had settled on it. But Sirius is way farther than that. And we thought journeying across the ocean would be the feat of a lifetime. The sheer calculations needed for space travel, it's overwhelming to think about.
Even so, the Quen are way ahead of other tribes when it comes to understanding this stuff. Where I grew up, everyone thought that stars were sparks that rose from a fire lit by the goddess to guide us through the night. So, all of the tribes here are new to you?
Yes, I've been studying up on them. The most fascinating one thus far has been the Tenakth, an entire culture based on the holograms of an ancient museum. There's much they've misinterpreted, not unlike the Quen. But still, there's a nobility to what they've become. They're honorable and fearless.
And deadly. Once all this is over, will you go back across the ocean?
I don't know. The more I think about it, the more worried I become. If I go back, I don't even know if they'd let me keep this focus you gave me, or what they'd do to me for reading what is clearly forbidden data. Even if I somehow were allowed to carry on my duties as a diviner, would I be willing to let the truths I've learned about the ancestors be buried away by the Board of Overseers? Would I dare challenge them and risk my family's safety? Or losing Federa?
Who's this Federa you mentioned?
She is another diviner. One of our best. We used to be rivals at the academy. I hated her guts. But apparently there's a fine line between hate and love. We became very close, and then I was assigned to the expedition. She promised she'd wait for me, no matter how long it took.
Well, that was smart of her. She won't do any better.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I do. I suppose you saw that Tilda is here. Our very own Zenith.
I almost went up to her to ask her, well, every question I've ever had about the legacy. Every diviner I know would kill to get 5 minutes with one of the old ones. But now that she's here, all I feel is a vague unease. I don't know if I'm scared of finding out more uncomfortable truths, or just scared of her. Probably both.
The rest of us should be enough of a distraction to the Zeniths for you to hack into their network undetected. But you'll have to be quick, in case they do.
What exactly do you expect me to find, Aloy?
I don't know. The truth, if we're lucky. Back at the greenhouse, you spoke of knowledge forbidden to your people.
Diviners are meant to seek out the truth in the legacy, and many Imperials sponsor them in the hopes they'll find something the Empire can put to use, thus gaining favor with the Emperor. But the Board of Overseers claims certain truths are detrimental to the stability of the Empire, like discovering one of our revered ancestors ended the world. That is why diviners are only allowed to access segments of the legacy. Only Overseers can view it all. It ensures that any heretical data can be contained and retrieved before it can spread.
What happens to diviners who break the rules?
I never had the courage to ask.
You said you owed me an explanation for what happened in Thebes. I'm listening.
Right. I'll start at the beginning, with the CO. He was an Imperial, the Emperor's nephew, in fact. As such, he sponsored many diviners to search the legacy for anything that might help the tribe, and himself. He took a special interest in anything related to Ted Faro, whom we consider the greatest of the ancestors.
Ted Faro, revered ancestor. That's tough to take.
I know better now, of course. Anyway, the diviners discovered that Faro spent a great deal of time in San Francisco. In fact, many of the most important ancestors did. So the Emperor's nephew convinced him that an expedition across the ocean might solve our most pressing problems. If only we could find the right data in this fabled city, perhaps we could roll back the floods and storms that threatened our people. The Emperor declared that all the tribe's resources be poured into this endeavor. Dozens of ships were built, scouting missions were dispatched, and the Emperor's nephew was named Sio, one who wields the legacy for the good of the Empire, the living embodiment of Ted Faro, the Renewer. It may seem strange now, but for a time, he carried all of our hopes. We really believed he would save us. We had no idea just how perilous the journey would be.